Aaron. Hope you're doing well. We have a change of gears, a change of pace, something that's going to be different for us on October 8th's meeting. And so I've sent you a little reminder that on the schedule, when you go to the website, the Learning Suite schedule date for October 8th, that there are like several little 4 or 5 little videos that are short that don't add up to a lot. We're going to also in class watch some of the longer video. We won't see the whole thing. Colorless screen ideas. We're trying to sensitize ourselves to language policies. We're now changing gears in a major way. We've been talking about politics. We've been talking about philosophy. We've been talking about the important things that impact our future, your future, your careers. Well, so here's another one that doesn't get talked about enough, it seems like to me. This is about language issues and language minority students and language acquisition and decontextualized language and what works and what doesn't. A lot of these things are very politically charged. And a lot of people have their own mythology or concept map of how people acquire language. And it's my thesis, and I've studied this for quite a while and looked into it, that we can't be too certain about any one thing. Except I'm pretty sure that just outline bilingual education isn't going to result in a good outcome. In fact, I've written an article about this recently and looked at the data in the 3 states where they've outlawed bilingual education, and there hasn't been a renaissance for the Hispanic kids that were impacted by that. In fact, their NAEP scores, their National Academic Education Progress, whatever it's called, have gone down. They've gone down by representation. By ratio in a sense. So we're going to look into that, and I've given you a very accessible reading. That reading is about sort of what's the effectiveness debate about bilingual education, why it's such a toxic, nearly radioactive topic. So we're hiding in Utah under the terms of dual immersion, which isn't really exactly bilingual methodology. And then I've given you something that's a little dense, a little recondite, a little challenging for some of us who haven't been studying linguistics. And it's just a chapter from Gass and Selinker's book on, it's kind of a classic, on second language acquisition. I want you to not kill me or yourselves as you read that chapter. I mentioned that you're never going to be tested on it, but I want you to slog through it as much as you can without worrying to understand every single thing. But notice that there are things we can know and learn, even on error analysis, things we can know and understand. But right now we're kind of truncated we're kind of hampered in our efforts to study and learn and try different things for the population of students we have. So let me give you something to think about when you come to class. Oh, and don't forget, you're supposed to bring a paper clip with 1 cubit's worth of string, and it's got to be tied to the paper clip. So make sure that it's a cubit's worth, okay, or so. And tie it onto that paper clip. Bring it to class. We're going to do something with it. And I just want you to think about, as you look into this, that let's keep our eyes and hearts and minds open. Some of the issues of language acquisition are hidden because so many of those who join us as second language learners and as newcomers, especially the Hispanic kids that come, they wind up speaking unaccented, perfect-sounding English quickly. But there's some surface issues, and then there's some underlying proficiency issues regarding decontextualized language and deep vocabulary and deep literacy and things that may still be present and may still be part of the reason that so far we aren't having a large Hispanic uptick in academic outcomes for kids. So I want you to be thinking about those things and thinking about how kids acquire language. And I want to ask you that have studied a second language, we're going to go through the process of how you studied your second language. And so be thinking about that. I want to start out with those who've spoken or learned a second language or studied a second language in high school or the MTC, or in my daughter's case, they told her finally when they talked to her, oh, you don't need to go to the MTC. They just sent her on her mission, and she was supposed to have everything she needed for Spanish, which she kind of did. And then she went on and spoke Mosquito after that, without much formal training. So is that a proper language acquisition path? And does that teach us about kids? And are all the paths the same? These are some big, weighty issues, and a lot of people think they already know because they can intuit. I'm going to suggest that intuitive reasoning, it can take us some ways on some things, but it doesn't take us everywhere. And we need to be open to research and investigation and discovery. So good luck. We'll talk to you. We'll see you on the 8th, and we're definitely changing gears here. So thanks very much. We'll see you soon.